Live from the Washington, D.C. area, it's the Inside Scoop, Emerald Planet. All the ecology news that our viewers want to know. Now, here's your host, Executive Director of the Emerald Planet, Dr. Sam Lee Hancock.
Hello and welcome to the Emerald Planet as we come to you from Washington, D.C. in the United States as we look around the globe in 144 different nations looking for those 1,000 best practices, the technologies, the services, and the products that are making a difference as we move through the 21st century. And as we go to a planet with 9 billion people, how are we going to be able to feed, house, provide the energy, water, sanitation, everything that they need? We have someone who is the executive director for an organization. It's called the Solar Household Energy, Inc., Sophie Brock, and she is now the executive director. And welcome, Sophie, to the Emerald Planet.
Thank you, Sam. It's an honor to be here.
Glad to have you with us. Tell us a little bit about the Solar Household Energy and why the acronym SHE, Inc.
Well, Solar Household Energy, we're a small nonprofit, and we promote solar cooking for human development and environmental relief. And we see solar cooking as a women's empowerment issue because today over 3 billion of the world's people still cook on very primitive open fires or cook stoves. And basically cooking occupies a large part of the woman's day. They spend hours looking for firewood or making charcoal or even coal mining for coal or collecting dung. And then they spend hours over a smoky stove inhaling this and then cleaning.
Now let's bring these slides up here if we can do that so we can see some of these ladies with their solar cookers and what they're doing and the challenge they face and the alternatives that you're providing for them. So anyway, looking at the collection, you talk about dung actually is one of those areas, firewood, coal, many other ways. So why the solar energy? What is the unique nature of that? And then again, tying into the SHE Inc. because that's really one of their main jobs besides collecting water.
Right. Well, using solar cookers rather than open fires or primitive cook stoves allows women to have far more free time because it relieves them of the burden of having to collect firewood. It relieves them of the burden of having to sit over an open fire and stir that pot. And so it's a women's empowerment issue. This gives them more free time for business opportunities. And
when we say free time, it really is allowing them to start establishing their own businesses and do other things and not have the burden of just cooking, collecting water, the mundane aspects of existence.
Exactly. Not only women, children also are tasked to collect firewood, and without having to do this, they can then go to school and get an education.
Yeah, because many times when we're talking about in developing world, free time, people think, oh, they're going to go volleyball, they're going to take in yoga and all these things.
Right.
Most of the people that you're working with is not that whatsoever. So looking at the as far as the renewable aspects of this, we don't really think of solar cookers as part of solar energy and wind and all that. So tell us a little bit about the nature of these solar cookers.
Well, that's right. I think when most people think of solar energy, they think of photovoltaics, solar that goes into electricity and then is turned back into heat. But by using solar thermal energy, you're actually getting 3 times more energy efficiency. So it's
State that again. That's really an intriguing number. 3 times more energy efficiency from some of the solar cookers?
Yes, because with reflectors, you're basically getting at least 90% energy efficiency, depending on how good the reflectors are.
Thank you for sharing that, yes.
Right, rather than 15% of the energy collected from the sun being turned back into electricity and then more energy lost being turned back into heat. You just get the heat directly from the sun, from turning sunlight into heat using a black metal, then use a greenhouse to trap that heat, such as a plastic bag or glass bowl, and then just more reflectors to collect more sunlight and heat. So it's a very simple technology. You can make a solar cooker out of cardboard and aluminum foil and a little bit of glue for $2, and that's enough to cook your food.
And so in many of these countries, like I've been to 84 countries, 60 of them developing, many of these countries, people are still using charcoal, that's really almost universally the method used. Of course, some of the countries, dung is probably number 2, and then wood. So why are they still using these, these other kinds of fossil fuels, if you will, when you have something for $2 and you have almost a permanent solution? Why would it? Because they're spending more than that in either time or money, because many places they have to buy the charcoal. So why would they not be using more of the solar cookers?
That's an excellent question. That's what I first wondered when I came across solar cookers in Congo, where I was working for a conservation program.
Now, is this Congo DRC or Congo Brazzaville?
DRC,
Okay.
Democratic Republic
of Congo.
I think part of the problem is really just lack of awareness. Most people have never heard of the concept. I had certainly never heard of it, and I have a degree in environment. The other part of the problem is just cultural obstacles to adopting new forms of cooking. And it's really a radical idea, and nobody's used to it. So
that's just incredible. I mean, this is so simple. And actually, when I was traveling many years ago, solar cookers were out there being used, and 20, 30 years later, we're still talking about trying to, spread the word about solar cookers. And these are really intriguing photographs that you shared with us, Sophie. And I know this is something that you're distributing as far as your organization is concerned. But let's look at this diagram. This is very simple. Just tell us exactly what we're looking at here.
Okay, so this basically just explains the 3 principles behind solar cooking. The first one is converting sunlight to heat energy. You need a black pot. Black metal transforms sunlight into heat. Then you want to retain that heat with a plastic bag or a box cooker with insulation inside. And the third image talks about capturing extra sunlight, and that's where you see the different types of reflectors. There's panel, box, and parabolic types, which look like a satellite dish, and they direct all the sunlight right under the pot, so that it's like solar flames, which are able to barbecue, fry, and saute your foods.
Now, looking at the top 2 there on the right-hand side as we're looking at this, these are the ones that you say you could make them for maybe $2 or something like that. So some cardboard, aluminum foil, and glue, put it on. But the parabolic, the one at the bottom, that's actually quite expensive, if I understand the cost of it.
Well, you can certainly make your own cardboard and aluminum foil box cookers and parabolic ones to a degree. The difference is just how durable these cardboard and aluminum foil ones are, and just how efficient. Aluminum foil works remarkably well, but it does get damaged in the rain. And so you're going to want something more like polished aluminum or mylar to withstand the elements.
Now, looking at these cookers here, we got this cook kit, the hot pot, but some of these people make less than $1 a day, definitely less than $2 a day.
Right.
So how would this fit into their budget? And is there a way that they can buy these on time, or do they really need to think about making these in the initial stages? What's the process for that?
Well, solar household energy helps implement field projects, and so most people are never going to know about these technologies unless we bring it to them and show them how to make it.
I see.
Now, for example, in refugee camps, there are whole distribution networks of people who manufacture them. The hot pot is made commercially in Mexico. And the good thing about most durable solar cookers is that they last very long, 10 years to 20 years, compared to a lot of...
that's a long time, yeah.
Right.
So that's almost several generations then within these families. And what are we looking at here?
We're looking at solar ovens. So these have more insulation, and so they can withstand cloudy weather a bit better than most elementary panel cookers. One of these is made out of llama wool and locally carpenter-made wood. And the other is a sun oven, which is made in the US, I believe. This works well for large dishes.
Now, this is the one that I was talking about a little earlier. I think these are a little more expensive. So just compare, this particular cooker here than, say, some of these. Or are they about the same?
Well, one is an oven, so it's great for baking, making cakes, and the other is a stove.
Right.
So that's where you'll do your frying.
But I'm looking at cost and time.
In terms of cost, well, there are some made in China with concrete bases and small mirror pieces, which they sell at probably around $150. The sole source there is an award-winning solar cooker, and in the U.S. that costs $399, but it's exceptionally durable and well made.
Well, I mean, that even if you're making $1 or $2 a day or something like that over the life of these things, that's very inexpensive.
Right.
Now, is there anything being done as far as allowing the people to buy these on time, or any other ways that this can fit in, or can they use this as their own small business so they start cooking food and selling it in the marketplace? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, there are several ways to go around it. Some of the most well-documented solar cooker projects are those in China with those mirror ones that they're financed by the Clean Development Mechanism. And so certain corporations are providing these for free, and they are receiving the carbon credits in exchange. And so allowing people to buy them for $5. In other cases, people can buy them through microfinance options. And in other cases, are subsidized by governments, especially in China and India, or through lease-to-own programs.
Yeah, these are actually quite attractive, nice colors and all that. And of course, these are the commercial. Tell us a little bit about these commercial ones that we have here. And we just about run out of time. And I have one last question for you. So.
Okay. These are for communities. So you'll see that this villager sun oven makes 1,200 meals a day. And they're hybrid. So when the sun goes behind a cloud, you can just put on the propane or the LPG or the electricity for some, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, this is just amazing, and I wanted to go down. I think this is the one I want to end with. This is 100,000 people using these solar ovens. That's
pretty amazing.
That is just incredible. Where do you see your organization, She Inc., going over the next 5, 10, 15 years?
Well, we are looking to continue the field projects we started in Mexico. We help design the hot pot. Over 30,000 have been sold, and we're looking to scale that up. We're also looking to help organize the solar cooking sector, try to get more rigorous monitoring and evaluation of solar cooking projects out there, because there are many, but we need good scientific data to validate them. And we're also fostering technology research and development.
So you really have a broad band of things that you're doing at a great reach. That's absolutely fantastic. Well, this is really wonderful, and to show these off, I think this is absolutely fantastic. So we have Sophie M. Brock. She is the Executive Director for the Household Energy Inc., known by She Inc., and all about solar cookers, and looking at this as a way to use renewable energy for cooking, reduce the impact on trees and other fossil fuels as we look around the globe to create the Emerald Planet.
Too many women get hit by their boyfriends and husbands. Too many women are pressured into having unprotected sex. Half of the people in the world living with AIDS are women. It doesn't have to be this way. Together, we can change this reality. Let's strive for a world free of violence.
At Volunteers of America, we don't just give kids a way to stay off the streets. We give them the tools they need to reach their full potential. We don't just help the elderly receive needed care. We help them live life to the fullest. We don't just provide food for homeless individuals and families. We provide job training and placement so they can buy groceries. Volunteers of America is a national organization that for over 100 years has provided programs and services that allow people to overcome their challenges to become vital members of their community. At Volunteers of America, we don't just help people, we help people help themselves. Find out how you can support the programs that are working in your community. Contact Volunteers of America today. Call 1-800-899-0089.
Drivers face all kinds of distractions.
Guys, stop playing, no? 127 consecutive.
Before your wireless phone becomes one of them, stop. Drive safely. Keep your phone in easy reach and dial sensibly. In bad weather or traffic, call later and use a hands-free device. Remember, with wireless, safety is your call.
We're back to the Inside Scoop Emerald Planet. Here again, your host, Dr. Sam.
Hello, and welcome to the Emerald Planet as we come to you from Washington, D.C. in the United States as we're looking for those 1,000 best practices, the technology, services, and products, and of course the people and the process that are making a difference as we move towards 2050. Because by 2050 we'll be adding approximately 20 or 2 billion people to the planet, so we'll be at about 9 billion souls. And so how are we going to be able to provide the food, the fuel, the fiber, all the basic infrastructure that's needed for all these individuals? And we have a gentleman coming on who's going to be talking about what they're doing as far as communications to tie the world together, both the urban and suburban and the rural areas, and doing it in a very efficient way. And so we have a gentleman coming on with us. He's going to be coming on by telephone. This is Roy Priest, who is the Vice President for Sales and Support of an organization. It's called GATR Technologies. And sitting right beside me is Sophie Brock. She is Executive Director of the Solar Household Energy, Inc., which is called SHE, Inc. Love that name. That's really well done. Roy, I understand you're coming in by telephone and you're already with us. Is that correct?
I am, Sam. Sophie, good to be with you.
Okay, we're glad to have you. Tell us a little bit about what is GATR Technologies. I love the name. We met some time ago with the Star Tides at National Defense University, and glad to finally get you back on Emerald Planet TV.
Well, thank you very much. GATR Technologies is a group of communications professionals who we're located in Huntsville, Alabama, and we've developed and we field unique, innovative type of satellite communications terminal for use in remote parts of the world to help people get data, voice, and video communications in remote parts of the world, and we do it in a very unique way.
Well, I tell you, it's really intriguing to see these photographs that you've provided for us. Quite a design you have. Tell us a little bit about the GATR antenna and how it's unique.
Well, you notice it looks unusual because it's a ball. And what we're doing is inside that ball, we have mounted a flexible parabolic dish, a bowl-shaped dish, just like those you're familiar with from perhaps your grandparents' backyard or the top of a gas station. We're doing satellite communications technology, but we have a flexible fabric dish inside that ball that we shape with more air pressure in the front than the back. That's what pushes it down in the parabolic shape. And the reason we do that is when we remove the air, the ball and the dish together roll up into a small bag about the size of a backpack and only weigh 25 pounds. But as you can see, that dish is about the size of your small bedroom.
I tell you, it's quite impressive, the size and the shape of this. And of course, we see all this other equipment sitting around and the tents and everything else. So this is really becomes almost the core of what you're doing. Before I turn the third question over to Sophie, having this right in the middle of this operation you have, how far is your reach and how does that tie together various areas? Let's say that you're trying to tie together an urban and a rural area. How much reach do you actually have? Absolutely. Well, we can reach almost any part of the world because we're communicating with geosynchronous satellites, that is, satellites that are in the same position above the Earth relative to our location. And so anywhere you can see this band of satellites around the equator, you can communicate with another point on the Earth. And through that connection, you can communicate with the Internet. You can place phone calls. You can get email. And this is vital in remote parts of the world where the infrastructure doesn't exist to have
high-speed internet communications. So we're able to avoid dragging a long cable, if you will, and simply communicate. As long as you and I can see the same satellite circling above the Earth, we can talk to one another.
I tell you, I think it's absolutely fantastic. And having traveled and lived in 84 different countries, this is something that's really needed because many times, even within the United States and particularly among Native American nations, it's very difficult to stay connected.
That's right. That's right. And the unique value of this technology is that it's so portable. It allows you to take the communications tool with you anywhere you go. Normally, this would be about a 1,000-pound piece of equipment, maybe mounted on a trailer that would have to be pulled behind a truck. Ours fits in just a couple of small cases. In fact, I usually have one here in the trunk of the car with me.
Oh, that is incredible. Well, we'll have to talk about that because we're still planning our 144 nation trek, so we may need to be able to tie in with you. Sophie, you want to ask the next question?
Is GATR an environmentally friendly technology?
It is, Sophie, in a couple of ways. One of them is that the ball itself and the dish inside are fabric materials, which are naturally biodegradable over the long term. But also, the unique transportable nature of this technology allows it to be taken with you in like I said, the back of a small vehicle instead of a large truck or flatbed truck. Also, the military transports this. They can jump this on a soldier's back instead of having to fly in a trailer on a C-130. So you can imagine the carbon footprint of being able to eliminate an entire cargo aircraft from the deployment of your equipment.
It's very impressive.
I tell you, that really is impressive. You're talking about all of this. I mean, we're looking at this huge ball, and you say you can actually, it goes into a few little cases?
That's right. The ball itself, with a dish inside, weigh only about 25 pounds or 12 kilograms. And the rest of the equipment altogether fits in about 150 pounds worth of transit cases. And again, that compares to 800, 900, maybe 1,000 pounds for the conventional technology that was on the market before we came along with our inflatable antenna.
This is just incredible. You and I have talked about this a number of times, but I didn't realize it was this light and that portable, so this makes it even more intriguing. Looking around what you're doing, of course, when you started, this was really a community service outreach kind of effort and also for humanitarian aid. So looking at GATR's history, how did you get your start in what you're doing? And I think you are a for-profit organization, but you're serving the nonprofit community as well as military and other types of related organizations.
We were born out of the humanitarian and nonprofit realm because in 2005, Paul Guro, the president and founder of the technology, took one of the very first antennas down to Biloxi, Mississippi on the Gulf Coast after Hurricane Katrina. And he set up at a Red Cross shelter and helped the citizens there get connected to the internet so they could file forms with FEMA, which allowed them to start the process of rebuilding their lives. And others simply wanted to make a phone call to let their loved ones in other parts of the country know that they were okay. So that showed us the power of technology. And since then, we've deployed to the earthquake Haiti, to various tornado-ravaged areas around the United States, and more recently to the Philippines after the devastating cyclone that hit in last year. And that's using our own assets and deploying at our own expense. Just part of, we try to give back with some of the success that we've had in this unique capability. But of course, we are also a for-profit company where we have recognized the value of this technology to all sorts of commercial and governmental interests, and we've sold it all over the world.
I tell you, I'm looking at a slide here that has the three different sizes. You know, it's a step up, if you will, looking at this. So how is the GATR antenna being used globally?
Well, the Philippines deployment was a perfect example because when we arrived there with a couple of our own antennas, the United Nations World Food Program had already arrived with their inflatable antennas. We had sold them years before, and they were set up right on top of City Hall in Tacloban in the middle of the disaster area. Yeah,
this is when they had the big flooding and all that going on in southern Philippines.
That's right, absolutely.
Okay.
It's ideal for situations like that. But we also sold this to the Australian government, the Italians, the British, Indonesians, Canadians, and others to use in their natural disaster and military response.
So it's really deployed worldwide then?
It is. We have over 500 terminals in the field, and many of those are internationally located, both with the U.S. military and other countries, as well as Erickson Response and the UN World Food Program and other humanitarian agencies.
Okay, well, that's fantastic that you're working to help those that are at need, at risk, both individuals and communities. Thank you for doing that. Sophie's going to ask you the next question. Roy?
Roy, what have been the impacts of your technology on industry and humanity around the globe?
Well, one thing you find when you're working in humanitarian response and humanitarian disasters is that time is really at the essence. And so when your house has been destroyed, or if you're trapped under rubble, you really can't wait for cargo ships to arrive with large, heavy pieces of communications equipment to coordinate that response. So being able to rapidly transport in a high bandwidth terminal like this very quickly makes all the difference in the world in terms of getting the right resources into the right places quickly enough to make a difference. And so that's where we have seen this make a major impact in disaster relief and humanitarian response. The military, of course, has the same critical time-sensitive need for information, and that's where this has made a significant impact in trying to make things better for people in desperate situations.
Looking at the deployment of this, Roy, and let's say that you're going into the Philippines or maybe some country in Africa, what have you, and you need to take this on the aircraft, how many of these containers, these small units, would there be? And is there any dispensation if you're using this for humanitarian aid, or you still need to pay that as extra baggage on the aircraft?
No, absolutely. The airline checkability of this system is what's so unique. Again, instead of 1,000 pounds worth of transit cases or a 3,000 or 4,000 pound trailer, I can take this as 2 of my checked bags on an aircraft, and I do so quite often. 2 checked bags that are less than 100 pounds each. We also, for international purposes, we repackaged into 3 or 4 cases that weigh less than 50 pounds or 23 kilograms each to meet international air transport requirements. And that is a unique capability to fly into a disaster zone or to fly to another country and be able to have this type of communications capability right there with you at the belly of the aircraft. We've also flown it around Africa in a Cessna, as have numerous other customers, and the UN World Food Program keeps them on jet, ready to go at a moment's notice to respond to a disaster like Haiti or the typhoon that hit the Philippines.
Roy, we're going to lose you in just a few seconds. What do you see for the growth of GATR Technologies over the next 5, 10, 15 years? We have to be quick.
Well, we're expanding into new products and new areas to take advantage of this technology, and we hope to broaden our reach to other communities around the world.
Thank you very much. Roy Priest is the Vice President, Sales and Support of GATR Technologies. Came in by telephone. And Sophie Umbrock, who is the Executive Director for She Inc., is with me as we create the Emerald Planet.
I helped turn my child's public school into a whole new kind of school. One with a curriculum that really motivates kids. One that has extended hours, 6 days a week, year-round. With loads of academic, cultural, and recreational activities. One that has support services like medical and dental right there. A school where parents' involvement is encouraged. Where teachers have more time to teach. And students are excited about learning. There's just one problem. My child doesn't ever want to come home. You can help turn your school into a community school for excellence. Find out how. Call 1-877-LOVE-TO-LEARN.
It's coming. Right to your neighborhood. And when it does, you may be surprised. It's your Social Security statement of your benefits, and it's going to help you plan your financial future. Your benefit statement will tell you how much Social Security you're eligible to receive and when you'll get it. Then you'll know how much you need to save for retirement, because that's coming too. The future is in your hands. Choose to save.
The toxic fumes from this meth lab are seeping into Jamie's sinus cavity. Ammonia vapors invade her throat. Toxic gases fill her lungs. Jamie's body is deteriorating. And she doesn't even know it.
Jamie, dinner.
So, who has the drug problem now? Find out how meth affects you at drugfree.org/.
We're back to the Inside Scoop Emerald Planet. Here again, your host, Dr. Sam.
Hello and welcome to the Emerald Planet as we come to you from Washington, D.C. in the United States as we're looking around the globe in 144 different nations. As we say, we're looking for the best of the best, those technologies that can be used anywhere on the planet as we go from a planet with 7 billion to 9 billion souls by 2050. And one of the challenges as we enter the middle of the 21st century, of course, is fresh potable water. How are we going to find it? How are we going to produce it? And then as we add 2 billion souls, when we already have 1+ billion that do not have sufficient water assets, that we're going to be able to take care of all those needs. I have someone sitting right beside me that's actively involved in this. He's the Director for Business Development, Craig Bishop, and he's with the International Water Company. And Craig, welcome to the Emerald Planet TV.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Well, you have a great company. I've seen you several times out at Star Tides at the National Defense University, and that's an area where you can showcase the latest technologies for humanitarian and economic development. And we really appreciate the technologies that you have. We have an image of that up there. But tell us a little bit about International Water Company.
Well, the founders of the International Water Company actually started the business about 2010. And they did it because they were concerned in what they saw around the world. That, as you had said earlier, there's over 1 billion people, almost 2 billion people that have access to water in the sense of water. But the water itself is not potable, it's not healthy. And that concerned them. So they were looking for a methodology in which they could develop low-cost, renewable, and sustainable systems that could provide that water to the people. And that became sort of a mission, an agenda for them. And that's why they started the company, and that's how we're moving forward.
Now, looking at the developing world, we're talking about these at least 1 billion people, you're saying almost 2, that and some of this, when you talk about it's not good for you, you know, it's full of every kind of pathogen. Some of it's just mud. And they're trying to extract moisture out of that in some of these really deprived areas. But looking at water as a human need, what are you seeing around the globe, and how is International Water being able to address that in a very realistic way in places where, you know, really is a lack of income in order to have proper water?
Well, and your point is well made. There's 7 billion people in the world right now, and it's growing pretty quickly. In which we said there's about 2 billion, 1.7 to 2 billion, that there's a water source somewhere around them. It might be a lake, it might be the wells that they're drilling, or the mud puddles. Mm-hmm. And the water itself is neither potable or healthy. Now, the water could be polluted either naturally by something like arsenic, or it could be by runoffs due to human or animal waste. And because of that, the water is just, people go and do it, and they say that women in certain part of less developed countries spend basically their whole life getting and gathering water and other things, food, and bringing it forward. So it's a segment of the society that's not able to be utilized for productive activity in regards to anything outside of gathering water. So we've been able to develop a system that is that in fact will alleviate a lot of these issues. 4.5 children, I think it is, a second die from around the world due to the inability to obtain water.
Or you know, good quality water. But looking at the system here, you have this portable system called Mobile Water Purification Systems, MWPS, and we're looking at one of those now, and so you're looking at a combination of solar and wind power. Now, why is that? You know, most people in the developed world you know, they go to their tap, turn it on, the water is reasonably good shape to being pure, but yet here you've got this whole apparatus of the pumps, but yet you're using solar and wind. Why?
Well, because it's renewable, and the simple reason is that we want to be able to provide a system that's not tied to a logistics tail. Some of these systems out there,
in other words, off-grid.
Off-grid completely. And so we have our system that you see right here is called the 15, the Mobile Water Purification System 15. Now that system will run off of 5 different, has 5 different capabilities in which to operate. One is wind, one is solar, and even gravity. And then, of course, you can hook it up to a generator or hook it up to a grid. Now, that's very important for different parts of the world because you don't always have stable sources of electricity.
Yeah, so this is one of the things with the roving brownouts. I mean, the places I actually lived around the world, you may get power 3-4 hours a day, if at that.
Correct.
And the rest of the time, it's either diesel generators, which stink and are hugely expensive,
correct,
or nothing.
Yeah,
and so this way, you just avoid the issue all the way around.
That's correct. And these systems come with the solar and the wind generator both come with the system itself. So it's a self-contained, it's a turnkey type system. So once you get it, you have all those different variations already, and they come with the system so that you set it up. And the system, it was developed using high technology. However, it is a very simplistic system to use, and it's built that way so that you're not tied to using technology to run the system. It was just used to develop the system.
Now, looking at this, I'm going back and forth between these slides because this really just shows you the intricate nature of this whole thing. So you do have your wind and the solar, and then looking at the interior of this whole thing. Now, when you go into many developing countries, there are no spare parts. You can't just go down to the hardware store or go over to one of the big box hardware areas. So how do you know what spare parts that you need to have there, and how do you train local people so they actually take care of this, and then you have, it's in essence, a technology transfer to improve the level of service in these areas?
Well, that's the beauty of the system. Basically, the system comes with a 3-year warranty, first of all. And the system itself is unique in the sense that it is an evolutionary and yet revolutionary system. Evolutionary because of the fact that we just talked about. It's solar and wind and gravity feed. That just comes with everything. But the thing that makes it so unique is that the system is a backwashable system. It's revolutionary in that regards. Thus, as the water comes through, and the system becomes charged, just similar to a pool, as opposed to having to change filters, you stop the system and you backwash it. And it's got a small residue tank in the system itself. So the residue tank keeps the clean water that you need to backwash it, a few 5 gallons, and you backwash the system. It's that simple. The other part about the system
and that's all built into the electronics of this, and so that at a certain time, now is this timed on its own? In other words, oops, I'm full of all the dirt, I need to backwash myself, or do you have technicians that need to be trained and on site in order to maintain this equipment?
The training is very simple. Just a few days worth of training, and you can teach anyone that doesn't have any experience how to do these systems. And it was developed that way on purpose. The systems has simple, easy gauges to read. And the gauges will just, when they reach a certain point, showing you that they have high pressure, the medium is dirty, you stop the system, you backwash it. Turn it back on, it's good to go. So it's very, very easy to make a determination if you need to backwash the system or clean the water and keep it going.
Now, is there anything, the pipe that you would put in to draw the water, let's say it's coming out of a lake or a stream or a pond or something like that, do you actually have some screens that go over the end of that so that the heavy particulate doesn't even come into the system, or you just don't worry about that?
No, we do, and that's we're not too worried about a lot of the particulate except for big things. So it's actually an emergible or submergible pump. So the pump actually we have, depending upon how much water you're pulling out, can go up to 250 feet. So you put the pump in, and it runs from both the solar or the wind power. So everything is self-contained. So you throw the pump down into the source, if it's a well or whatever it is you place it. It has minor screens over the pump itself, and it pulls it up. So it filters out
the large gravel and stone and whatever,
sticks and whatever
leaves will not get in there.
That's right. And so you're basically getting a relatively clear or clean, I should say, filtered. I put it that way. Filtered system that's coming up into the system itself. And then there's 4 or 5 different filtration systems that it goes through. Finally, going through an ultraviolet light system as it goes out. We also have.
And again, the ultraviolet system is being run by both the solar and the wind.
Yes. There's no external power needed at all when you have wind and sun.
Yeah.
It's
so
fantastic.
it's solar by day in most cases and wind by night, as I understand the equivalence to that whole thing. Now, this is one of the units that's being set up, so you actually have the wind out there. I would assume the solar is actually on the top or side of this. So how long does it take from this, it shows up, how long does it take it to deploy so it's ready to start pumping?
Well, we advertise 3 hours. We put it up in about 50 minutes. It's really simple. 50 minutes.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, it's very, very simple to do. But we give people 3 hours because probably the very first time you do it, you're wanting to make sure everything fits exactly right and the screw goes in the right area. And it's easy to do. It's very easy to do. But we say 3 hours, but it really doesn't take that long.
Now, looking at this, so the big box shows up. It's on this trailer. And then what is the process as far as the solar and the wind turbines?
Well, the box itself is self-contained. So you have everything, the systems itself that does filtration, and as well as the windmill and the solar panels are all inside. You throw the doors open, you pull everything out, the system is there, you put it together, it's very simple. You stand the windmill up and you lay the solar array out in a type of caddy that holds it. That's very simple.
So this really is like it almost clicks into place, and then you would have some simple screws that then would, lock it into place.
And it's done. And you just connect all your cords up and plug it in. It's very simple.
This is absolutely amazing, and these are really attractive units. And I assume this is being at your assembly place, so I guess they put everything together, check it, verify that it works, actually work it, and then pack it back up, and then it's being shipped out.
That's exactly what we do. In fact, everything's assembled here in York, Pennsylvania. It's all put together. We do a test to make sure everything, a pressure test as well as a filtration test, ensuring that everything is 100%, and then we drain the system. We backwash it and drain it to get it back down to shipping weights.
Well, and this is a display that you have there. So this is actually what we were seeing at Star Tides, this type of unit. And so really this is everything that you need as far as going into a local community. Now, what size would this be as far as how many clean gallons or liters of water would you have, say, per hour out of a unit this size?
This size
unit, we're going to have to get out of here quick.
This size unit weighs about 5,000 pounds, and with this size unit, the 15, you can do 22,000 to 23,000 gallons in a 24-hour period.
That's incredible.
About 86,000 liters.
That is absolutely incredible. And where are you going in the next 5-10 years? Gotta be quick.
Where we're going to go is that we're looking for, of course, renewable and sustainable sources. That we're looking at things that, in fact, can help. All right,
gotta be quick.
Got to be able to expand our total focus in everything that can help individuals across the board
as we create the Emerald Planet.
Art, a universal language, an expression of culture, of self. And now, thanks to Empowered Women International, a way for emerging and established immigrant and refugee artists and artisans to find hope to earn a living while enriching the lives of all of us. Empowered Women International, making a better America every day. For more information on Empowered Women International's educational programs or to make a tax-free donation, contact C. Fripp at AOL.com.
Here, kitty, kitty. Here, kitty, kitty, kitty. Here, kitty, kitty.
You'd think it would be easy to tell which kids have trouble with their eyesight. But that's not always the case. Even though 1 in 4 children may have a vision problem, eye doctors tell us the symptoms aren't always so obvious. We do know that 80% of all childhood learning is visual. And without good vision, kids can have trouble learning to read and may fall behind in school. For clues on how to spot the real-life signs of childhood vision problems and what parents can do, visit checkyearly.com. A public service message from the Vision Council of America and Reading is Fundamental.
We're back to the Inside Scoop Emerald Planet. Here again, your host, Dr. Sam.
Hello and welcome to the Emerald Planet as we come to you from Washington, D.C. in the United States as we look around the globe in 144 different nations looking for those 1,000 best practices, the technologies, the services, and the products as we move through the 21st century. I'm Dr. Sam Hancock, the President, Executive Director of Emerald Planet, Director and host of the Emerald Planet TV, and we come to you on a week-to-week basis to bring you the best of the best as far as these technologies. And we're looking at how do we sustain the nonprofits. Many people have been challenged with the economic slowdown in many countries around the globe, and more of the nonprofits are having to set up their own social enterprises or be part of a social enterprise. And we have 2 gentlemen who are going to come and explain about exactly what is a social enterprise and how that nonprofits can make themselves sustainable at the same time to provide the goods and services and the technologies that at-risk communities and individuals need. The first, and we have 2 coming on. First will be Phillip Cook, who is the National Nonprofit Program Representative of what's called DubLi Partner Program. He's coming in by telephone, and then following him will be Tom Ashlock, who is the Vice President of the DubLi Social Enterprise for DubLi International. So Phil, are you with us here by telephone?
I am, Sam.
Hey, welcome. Glad to have you.
Yeah, thanks very much for having us on tonight.
Hey, tell us a little bit about what is a social enterprise. This is something that's relatively new in the fact that nonprofits now, instead of going out and trying to write grants and do all these kinds of things, actually are setting up a for-profit model in order to support their nonprofit outreach and humanitarian aid.
Yes, well, that's right. This modern technology that we have now, there's no limit to what we can do. And with our program, DubLi, we just have the nonprofits go to their database of people and show them what a partner program with DubLi can do. And it's really just doing what they do right now and buying the products that they use just over the internet and having them delivered to their house. But they can also get cash back, but also the non-profit then gets some cash from the sale. And every sale from every person that's connected with their site, they get some money. And so the money comes in and it just trickles in or pours in depending on the number of people that they outreach to.
So what you're doing then is it's like a premium program for supporters or members of a nonprofit. And if they have like a membership base or they have supporters or funders or underwriters, they can go out and share this information about DubLi. And then that helps those people because many people now are shopping or getting their goods online anyway. So what they're doing, and I think you told me that you have most of the large corporations, even the big boxes, are involved as far as DubLi is concerned.
That's correct. There's approximately 4,500 stores on the United States DubLi site. And that site is just going to have whatever the fundraiser or 501c, they will have their own logo put onto the site rather than the DubLi name. and they will have 4,500 stores connected to them. And that means that there's just about every company that you can think of, including Sam's Club, Best Buy. The list is endless, really. Priceline.com. It just goes on and on and on. So once you see the site and you just think of some store that you may not even think that's on it, you can put it into the search bar, and more times than not, it will come up. And they continually add to this site as more companies realize the benefits of being connected with DubLi.
Okay, I'm going to let, we've got Sophie sitting right beside me in case we lose you by telephone, so I'm going to let her ask the next question.
Okay, thank you. Phil, where is DubLi located, and why does it have major headquarters sites in Europe and the Middle East outside of their United States headquarters?
Can I ask Tom Ashlock to answer this one, please?
Well, he's not on, so you need to answer the question.
Oh, okay. I thought he was there.
No, we can only get you one at a time, so we're going to go to him in a minute. So we'll answer this one, and we're ready to switch over.
Well, this is I'm getting a lot of feedback here all of a sudden, but we have headquarters in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Initially, the company started in Europe and has grown up there, and then they came to the United States, and because the United States has such a big base of people who actually go out and buy it, they then moved their headquarters to the United States. They still have office in Europe to deal with a lot of the technical issues, and they also have another office in Dubai because this is literally a website that deals with in nearly every country of the world right now.
No, that's incredible. We don't have Tom on right now, so Phil, we're going to stay with you. So looking at the various languages around the globe, I know that you're now, it's not just English only. What are some of the other languages that you have, and why have you gone to multiple lingual status for DubLi?
Well, I believe that there's 17 languages now, and DubLi, because it is around the world, they had to translate it because not everyone speaks English. But for instance, in India, there's an Indian site. There's all different sites for different countries in Europe, and they have on those sites the biggest companies, biggest retail companies in those countries. So it's translated into French, German, Dutch, Indian, as I said, and many other countries. So it is truly a worldwide site.
I know that one of the things, if you look at the internet and purchasing, many people really do like to buy from the United States because of the variety, the dependability. And of course, there's a huge number of nonprofits. There's over 7,300 just in Washington, D.C. alone. So looking at that, can people from abroad that are involved in this and they want to order through the United States, but yet let's say they're a nonprofit in Denmark or the Netherlands or somewhere else, where they can actually call in, purchase, and then be able to have those funds go to their nonprofit in their home country?
Yes, well, it depends on where they live and what they want, but usually it's best to sign up under the non-profit that they believe in and want to support.
No, they've already done that, Phil, but they have their non-profit registered, but they're in Denmark and they want to buy from U.S. stores. Can they do that?
Not unless it's on their site. and more times than not, it wouldn't be on their site. It would be just for instance, European sites would be just have the European stores.
I see. Okay. So in other words, it really is by national sector then.
Yes. Yes. For instance, the Australian store, the Australian site is completely different to the United States site, even though they both speak the same language. The site is different because of the retail outlets are completely different in Australia.
Okay, all right, Phil, we're going to drop you off, and Tom Ashlock is going to be coming on by phone. Tom,
Okay.
Are you with us? Tom, are you with us? Okay, we're going to wait.
It takes a second.
Really? They said it takes a second to get somebody on the phone. I can't believe it. This is modern age. Where is the guy? Tom, are you here? Okay, I think he's trying to call in because I can hear the telephone. Sophie, looking at the work that you're doing, and you're working with all these various stoves, okay, I guess we do have the... Tom, are you with us? Tom?
Is he there? He hung up.
All right. Well, all right, we've lost Phil, we've lost Tom, they'll get him back. Anyway, Sophie, looking at what you're doing as far as your solar stoves around the planet, we were talking about some of the advantages of the solar stoves as part of the renewable energy. What kind of impact are you having in the lives of the women that you're actually serving?
Well, in general, you can say that solar cookers save between 40 to 70% of the fuel they use, which means that much less searching for wood. And depending on the solar cooker they use, you also see advantages in terms of cooking. For example, with slow cookers, you don't have to watch the pot. You just put all your ingredients in at the beginning, you know, walk away, leave the house for a few hours, come back, and your food is ready. And that's the kind of cooker that costs $2 to make. You're also looking at advantages in terms of women who use it as a business and income opportunity. So you can just solar cook all day long. They're also getting an education on the potential of renewable energy.
Okay, Tom Ashlock, are you with us?
I am.
Hey, glad to have you here. We're going to be quick because we got you in less than 1 minute. Tell us about DubLi and why is it important around the globe for nonprofits? And you have to be quick. You got about 30 seconds.
Well, the biggest innovation about DubLi is it uses one thing that everyone is, and that is a consumer. And it harnesses a return for the nonprofit based on the consumerism of the people who are using DubLi as a way of supporting an organization.
Then that's absolutely fantastic. And we're going to lose you, Tom. You came in and anyway, Tom Ashlock, Thomas A., and he is the Vice President for DubLi International. And thank you for being with us as we look around the globe to create the Emerald Planet.